Have you ever watched a group of children on a playground? They're running, they're jumping, they're climbing, they're ducking, they're twisting, they're spinning. One of the things I notice them doing is just for no reason at all trying to balance on something, walking on a curb. They're changing directions every few seconds. Now, compare that to the average adult. We walk from the car to the house. We walk from the car to the office. We walk from the office back to the car back to the couch. Almost always moving in a straight line. Forward, forward, forward. And what if one of the biggest differences between a capable 80-year-old and a fragile 80-year-old isn't age at all? What if it's simply whether they ever stopped moving sideways? Today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Hey, good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. I'm Garrett Williamson, president of Personal Edge Fitness. As always, if you have questions about today's topic, suggestions for future shows, or would like information about any of our programs, we'd love to hear from you. Over the last two episodes, we've discussed preserving muscle and fueling the body properly. Today, we're talking about movement itself, not exercise. Movement, and specifically one type of movement that quietly disappears from most people's lives: sideways movement. If you've ever heard me speak in person, you've heard me talk about this. Let me show you a childhood that most of us remember. Think back to elementary school, not gym class, recess, the real laboratory of human movement. Nobody had to convince children to exercise. Nobody counted steps. Nobody tracked calories. Nobody wore a smartwatch. You didn't go out and recess for 30 minutes. You weren't paying attention to time. Kids simply played. They played tag, kickball, football, hide and seek, monkey bars, climbing trees, racing their friends. Every one of those activities required movement in multiple directions: forward, back, sideways, catty corner, diagonal, whatever you want to call it. We were moving all over the place, even rotational. Children were unknowingly developing balance, coordination, strength, agility, reaction time, and resilience. Then something happened. We grew up. As adults, our movement becomes incredibly predictable. We sit, we stand, we walk forward, we sit again. See the difference? Most adults spend entire days without ever moving laterally. No shuffling, no cutting, no reaching, none of that balance stuff like I was talking about, balancing on a curve. No reacting, no dodging, no playing. See the difference in the movement? If an alien observed modern adults, it might conclude that humans only move in one direction, forward. And eventually, even that becomes limited. And let me tell you why I'm doing this podcast and why this is actually I've been really looking forward to it, because this is a massive, massive problem. Why sideways matters. We'll get into the science of it. One of the primary muscle groups involved in lateral movement is the gluteus medius. Now you hear about the gluteus maximus. That's your rear end. That's that massive, the largest muscle in the body. But what we forget about is another rather large leg muscle called the gluteus medius. Most people have never heard of it, yet it may be one of the most important muscles for maintaining independence. The gluteus medius helps stabilize the pelvis. It helps control balance. Now, you've heard me talk about balance before. Balance starts in the brain, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the gluteus medius helps prevent excessive side-to-side collapse while walking. And perhaps most importantly, it helps us recover when we lose our balance. Think about it. You remember the falls that you have, and you fall every year of your life, but you never remember the near falls. And you had a lot of those when you were younger, a lot more than you are when you're older. Think about when someone trips. Very rarely do they continue falling perfectly forward. The body must react. It must shift, adjust, recover. That's where lateral stability becomes critical. Unfortunately, if you never challenge that system, the body eventually decides it no longer needs it. Now, I've talked about this before. The body is incredibly efficient. It's the most efficient machine you'll ever encounter. It's the most intelligent machine you'll ever encounter. The body is not emotional. It is economical. It keeps what it needs. It eliminates what it doesn't. If you spend years playing tennis, your body adapts. If you spend years dancing, your body adapts. If you spend years hiking uneven trails, your body adapts. If you spend years sitting in a chair and walking in straight lines, your body adapts to that too. The body isn't punishing you. It's responding to instructions. Unfortunately, many of those instructions are accidental. One of the most interesting observations about aging is that many people assume hip fractures happen because hips become fragile. Well, we do create that, so that can be partly true, but one of the major or important questions is, why did the person fall in the first place? When children fall, they usually recover quickly. When teenagers stumble, they often catch themselves. When young athletes lose balance, they react instinctively. Those reactions aren't luck. They're not youth either. They're trained responses. Years of movement variability created them. Many adults stopped practicing those skills decades before they need them most. Then one day, they expect the body to perform a movement, some kind of movement pattern it hasn't rehearsed since the Reagan administration. That's a tough assignment. One of the biggest mistakes modern society makes is treating play as something children do. Play is movement. Play is coordination. Play is adaptation. Play is problem solving, especially for your brain. Play is a neurological training disguised as fun. When people play pickleball, they're training. When people dance, they're training. When grandparents chase grandchildren, they're training. When people work in a garden, they're training. The body doesn't care whether you call it exercise. The body only cares whether you've moved. Don't forget to watch out for my upcoming book, The Lie of Age, where we show how ability is determined solely by fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, has nothing to do with time on a calendar. And speaking of lie of age, this may be one of the clearest examples of the lie of age you'll ever hear. People often say, I can't move like that anymore because I'm older. That's an excuse. It's not a truth. But many haven't moved like that in 30 years, not because they got older, but because they stopped. And then the body adapted. Exactly as it was designed to do. We stopped asking the body to move sideways, and the body responded. Then we blamed age because we don't want to blame ourselves. The calendar became the suspect, when the real culprit was movement deprivation. So what can you do? The good news is the body remains remarkably adaptable forever, from the cradle to the grave. You don't need to become a professional athlete. You don't need to start playing tackle football. You simply need to reintroduce movement variety. Walk sideways. Practice balance. Dance. Play pickleball. Play with your grandchildren. Take a tennis lesson. Move in ways that challenge your body to solve problems again. Remember, the goal isn't exercise. The goal is capability. This week's challenge is quite simple. Every day, spend 5 minutes moving directions other than straight ahead. Sideways, backwards, diagonal, reach, balance, play. Challenge your body to remember skills it may not have used in years. And set a timer for it. Do 10 minutes a day, something so you have that accountability to make this happen. You might be surprised how quickly your body responds. Recap of it, we discussed why movement variety may be one of the most overlooked components of longevity, and why sideways movement helps support balance, coordination, and overall independence. And why many of these changes we blame on time passing on a calendar are actually the result of decades of reduced movement options. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Did a whole podcast on it. The body adapts to what we repeatedly ask it to do. And if we want to remain capable, we must continue giving it reasons to stay capable. And understanding the power of moving sideways is just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 888-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.
Did you know only 22% of 8th graders are proficient in civics? It's a statistic that affects all our futures. But Alabama's Liberty Learning Foundation is changing the headlines. We partner with schools to go beyond the textbook, teaching civics, character, and financial literacy in a way that empowers students to make a real impact in their own communities. Help Liberty Learning Foundation build the leaders Alabama needs. Join the movement today at libertylearning.org.